These are the stories behind your favorite disciple songs.
Hello, Rebel Society members, esteemed colleagues, friends, enemies, distant relatives, and of course, congressmen. This is our segment, Story Behind the Song, and we're about to jump over to the three of us, me, Kevin, and Joey, all discussing a song called First Love, and it's track 1 on Long Live the Rebels. It's a favorite song of ours that we love. It's a song that Andrew wrote the music for, and that the rest of us then, we all collaborated on lyrics and everything. You'll hear all about that. It's also a song that, it's one of our favorite guitar solos, and it's actually a solo that we are requiring our auditioning guitar players to learn and play for us just because we feel like it has so much feeling and value. Anyway, those are things that you might already know about this song, but there is so much more to come that you don't know. We're going to get deep. That's the whole point of this segment. So we're hoping that this content is really fun for you as listeners, but we also want to make it more than just us talking and you listening. We want to hear your feedback. We want to get your thoughts and opinions and any additional questions you have that we might not have covered. So if any of that relates to you after you're finished watching this video, go to the Rebel Society private Facebook page and post on there. Even if it's just to say, I liked that episode about First Love. Or, if you didn't like it, let us know. Is it too short? Is it too long? Should we talk more about one aspect of it than the other? Let us know. Go to the Facebook page and we'll see you over there. Here's the segment. Story behind the song, First Love. Yeah, let's get started. So, do you guys remember what the first track on our album Long Live the Rebels is?
I do.
Oh.
It has the word first in it.
Now that's ironic.
The first track has the word first. Yeah, almost like it was saying, I want to be first.
That is
That
funny.
album was so long ago at this point that
I know.
it took me a minute to remember.
Now, all right, before we get anywhere else, was that like on purpose, the First Love being the first song? I mean, obviously we meant to make it the first song, but was there any like ironic thought behind that, or was it just kind of a I'm trying to remember what the decision-making process was.
No, I mean, my thinking is always you want the first song coming out of the gate to make a good impression with a broader audience. What song is going to make the best impression with a broader audience? Or if you just want to make the impression that, hey, this album is going to be heavy and just, you better put your seatbelt on, then you make Back Again track 1.
That's a good point.
Or
Yeah.
But then the exact opposite thinking goes into making Dear X track 1, which it was.
That's a great point too. I forgot about that actually.
So it's the exact. I mean, there's like so many philosophies that you can have with what you want your track 1 to be, but I mean, I think we've tried them all.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost like you're right, because is there a right one? Probably not.
Didn't First
No,
Love?
Well, I'm sure there is a right one, but
We don't know what it is.
Now, didn't First Love, like, I feel like it had something to do also when that intro got built, how, it went from super quiet to kind of ramping in. It was kind of like the perfect intro to a record. I can't remember, was that sound there when we first wrote the song, or was that like a later thing?
I'm
yeah,
pretty sure.
I probably got the demo right here on my iTunes.
I'm
Yeah,
pretty sure
I think
Andrew had it on the first demo.
Okay.
Yeah, where it was fading in.
Yeah, I remember exactly what plugin he used to make it. Actually, it's by Sound Toys. But and then I think that was one that Aaron, our producer, Aaron Sprinkle, was like, "Oh yeah, we just need to keep that," instead of trying to remake it.
And I didn't realize until like a year after the album was out, and somebody said it. I can't remember who said it. That it's very similar to the "We Will Rock You" by Queen melody.
Oh yeah, that's right.
I didn't even like.
We will rock you.
So it's like. Da, da, da,
Oh!
Bro, exactly.
What?
I know.
I didn't know this.
We will
That's
rock you.
amazing.
Somebody caught that, and it was like, well, I can tell you right now, we didn't rip it off because that was the furthest thing. I can assure you that was the furthest thing from our mind. But it's
That's
cool.
so true.
I mean, when people say, that something sounds like another song, it doesn't even bother me anymore because like we've got 8 notes to choose from. So
Especially when
12
when it's that
13
awesome of a song.
13 notes actually, 13 notes to choose from.
That's the first time I've heard that about the Queen thing, and that actually pumps me up because I've been listening to Queen all week. Everywhere
right.
I drive, I'm just like
Oh, there you go.
listening to Queen. So
That's
There you
right.
super dope.
That's right. We have a part on our new album that was very Queen inspired that these people who hear this probably won't have heard yet, but we'll get there at a later date. That's funny. So yeah, I feel like we had debated putting the song "Long Live the Rebels" as track 1 just because it was title track and really energetic.
That was definitely a possibility. Big
And
possibility.
then I think it was almost. I remember actually you saying, Kev, like, well, do you put the high energy song first, or do you put the better song first? I think that was something you said. And First Love.
I don't think First Love is better than Long Live the Rebels. It was we had a limited amount of money to spend on the mix guy,
That's
Ben
right.
Gross.
That's
and
right.
He only mixed how many songs? 2 or 3?
I think 2.5.
Yeah.
That's a
He did.
real answer.
I know he did First Love and he did Erase.
Yes, and I think
And then-
he came in and at the end of the song Rebels because we needed some help. I think the other guy.
Well, see that one, yeah, it doesn't count because
Doesn't really count.
Those sounds that he had, he just basically tried to polish the sounds that were already there because the sounds and the toms that he had for First Love and Erase were so much better than.
Right.
We're giving away some real inside information
Hey.
here, but
That's what we're here for.
yeah. So he told me if I wanted those drum sounds on Long Live the Rebels that we had on First Love and Erase that he would have to start all over. And we would have to we'd have to pay even
I
more
see.
money. We can just give him the inside information here. This guy was $1,000 a song. I
Right.
mean,
Which
he
the
probably
mix,
doesn't want me saying that.
Well, he won't know.
Yeah, he'll never know.
Unless
Yeah.
Ben
But-
Gross's nephew is a Patreon backer.
So think about that. If we wanted that guy to mix 10 songs on a Disciple record, you do the math there.
Yeah, that would be
$3,000 a song.
$300,000.
So much money.
Yeah, way
It's
too
a
much.
house.
That's also
nice
perspective. That's also perspective for all those people who are like, "Oh, well, y'all got $120,000 on Kickstarter. You guys are rich. Like,
Right.
you don't need that amount of money to make a record. Like,
Totally.
that just puts. That's one person. That's
Right.
one factor of a record that is
Yeah.
getting paid right there.
That's exactly
Not to
right.
mention the 18 other things you got to pay for.
Yeah, a lot of people don't factor in, let's say somebody sponsors us or Kickstarter, they give a $10 donation towards Kickstarter and they're getting a physical CD. So how much did it cost to make that CD? How much did
Right.
it cost to ship that CD?
Right.
How much did it cost for the T-shirt or whatever else that they wanted to get? Now, how much of that $10 is left over?
Exactly.
So
Much less.
it's a pre-order much more. So when people say you raised $120,000, we didn't just have $120,000 sitting around to split between us. We were paying mix guys and we were paying shipping and we were paying to get the CDs produced. And t-shirts produced. I think we came up with out of the 115. I think it was 115. It was 120.
115 on the first one, I think, on Attack, and then 120 something on Kickstarter.
23,
for
I
Rebels.
think.
123.
I think out of that we spent all of it on making the record or shipping or producing product. I think we had maybe 10,000 or 15,000 left over after it was all said and done. And nobody would know that. We're not going to come out and go, "Hey, we made 10 grand out of 122."
Right.
People think that we made 122. It's like, no, I actually just made 10.
And that-
which is a
and
whole
that
lot
went-
different than these people that are GoFunding me. Just give us money.
Yeah.
We're not getting anything back.
And
It's a lot
that money definitely went straight to the bus engine or bus generator or something to do with the bus braking because
Yep.
it does that a lot.
You ain't wrong, buddy.
Today, I sent a check in the mailbox for $6,700 for
Unreal.
just bus repairs.
That's like 2 mixes, bro.
Those are the bus repairs that we don't ask for people to help us with.
That's right. Which is
You know,
most-
let's just take my Camry on tour. Let's just start traveling in a Toyota. We'll be fine. It'll
Does
be
it
great.
have Bluetooth?
Yes. Actually, I had it installed.
Well, all right, I'm in.
It's an 03, but I upgraded it. So
Yeah.
I am trying to figure out if you're being sarcastic. It sounds like 99% sure that you're sarcastic. Do you have Bluetooth in your car?
Yeah.
You're
hun-
lying.
a hun-
It's got
hundred-
the eyebrow raise.
What? 100%.
The eyebrow raise.
he actually does.
Sold it.
Next time
Are you
see
serious?
me, I'm going
Yeah.
to show you.
It's aftermarket.
It's
That's so
aftermarket,
cool,
yeah.
man.
So it's more like
Nice work.
it's not like a Bluetooth, it's like a Blue Crown because that's what you get, after the fact. It's got Blue Crown.
Actually, Camry in Japanese means crown.
Are you serious?
Not kidding.
Wow, I learned something.
You're welcome.
You're a very cultured man.
So, anyways, back to the song.
I know. We were talking about the mix, and that was definitely one. Yeah, we I think because we had talked about it being track one, and we just really believed in the song, and so that was one that we decided to get the splurge on the mix for. And I'm glad we did. I mean, it really is a great song and a great sounding song. Super
Yeah,
proud
he
of
was
that one.
awesome. It was so weird that I'm not trying to say bad things about him, but it's so weird because he knocked First Love and he knocked Erase out of the park. And so we thought we would have him do God Is With Us, which we did. We paid for him to do God Is With Us, if you remember.
That's right.
And then we didn't like it, so we went and had J.R. McNeely do God Is With Us instead. And J.R. did knock that one out of the park. It sounds amazing.
Yep, that's correct. And
So weird
yeah,
because you just never know. So like a lot of people don't realize that too. I mean, you pay to have a mix done. It may not turn out the way you want. Then you
Yep.
have to pay another guy to mix it, and
that happens all the time.
all the time.
And even with production, sometimes that happens where you're working on something with somebody and you bring someone else in and you bring someone else in. But yeah, in that case, that was another example because God Is With Us was a song that we were like, this is our best shot at radio. We got to make sure it's good. So
We actually did that on the Oh God Save Us All album. Jason Rao was producing the album, and I had a vision for Once and For All, and I wrote the song with Seth Mosley, and who's done a lot of Newsboys stuff. And wrote the song with Seth Mosley, and Jason wanted to just take it a completely different direction than what we had written it as, and so it was just a difference of vision.
Right.
And sometimes producers you just want to butt heads with the band and just have a way that they're wanting to go about it. And I stood my ground, and I was like no, I want this song to go the way that we wrote it, and to the point where he was like, I just don't see that vision. And I was like, okay, well, we'll just let somebody else record it.
Wow.
So we recorded it with Seth
with
Mosley.
Seth,
So-
yeah, that's right. That's right.
So that's how that happened.
So interesting. Yeah. So a lot of this kind of stuff is what people don't know about, this behind the scenes stuff. And yeah, it is costly, and not just in finances, but in time and in energy.
I will
But,
say,
yeah.
I remember when we got back the first mix of First Love from Ben, and it was like everybody listened, and there was this silence on the text thread, and then it was just, holy crap, holy crap, holy crap, holy crap. Like, everybody felt the same way about it. Like, everybody was, like, super stoked.
That's so funny.
And I remember listening to it in my car, just being like, whoa, like, this is huge,
Yeah,
So-
I feel like it's one
Really
of those
good
examples
sound.
of the song has a feeling, and I think the mix that we got on that song matches the feeling of the song. We talk a lot of, especially on this album cycle, we're talking so much about what the mix, what we want it to be, what we want it to feel like, and I think First Love was an example of the mix.
Are we allowed
really,
to say what the name of the new album is in these conversations?
I don't know.
Okay.
Maybe
Not
play
yet.
it safe.
No,
play
not
it
yet,
play it
okay.
safe for now. I would
Alright.
love to, but yeah, not sure yet. But
Because
yeah,
I think Marmalade Jelly needs to be out there so people know.
all right,
that Marmalade Jelly.
I'm gonna bleep
is-
that out.
Hope you do. Hope you do. You Marmalade Jelly.
So Kevin, was this a song that you wrote the lyrics to first? Did you have an idea of these lyrics first, or was the music written and then you kind of fashioned the lyrics around the music?
Yeah. I feel like, this is just me being real. I feel like in my walk with Christ that, there's just been more than one moment unfortunately, where I really feel like not necessarily fallen away, but like whatever is so close to that and not being considered that, where I just like lost all connection with God and just lost who I was and found myself committing sins I never thought I would commit, those types of things, and just found myself in this really, really dark place. And I know that my experience is not unique to, a lot of people's experience. And so I thought, in those moments when you're trying to reconnect with God and you're remembering, what it was like, it's a very prodigal son type moment. You're kind of remembering, how it was in the beginning, how much passion you had for God, in the beginning, and just you've lost that and you want to recapture that. I wanted to write a song. I probably wanted to write the song, for a long time, and couldn't figure out how to do it. I think I'd written rough drafts and other songs of similar things, and it just never would work out. There's this Bible verse. I wish I had it on standby, but I don't. But it talks about knowledge puffs up, but love is better in some way. I can't remember the verse exactly, but I was thinking about that in our relationship with God, we value knowledge so much in what we're learning about God and theology, and we're reading the Bible and understanding it in Bible study. We put that at the top, when really our passion for God and our love for God is 1,000 times more important than our knowledge about Him. It's like when you think about what God is after and what He's looking for, we think He wants us to know information about Him to where we can just spout off all of these facts about God. But really what He's wanting is love and passion or whatever. And so the song is really about, recapturing that love and passion, like throw the knowledge out the door. God is not even interested. He's like, oh, you know a lot about me. That's great. I know a lot about American history too. Who cares? It's just like it's not important. The God's history is not what He's looking for. He's actually wanting people. He could do more with someone who knows very little about Him, but who is extremely passionate about Him, as to someone who knows a lot about Him, but who's too afraid to ever open their mouth and say the name of Jesus in public.
That's good. What's the actual verse where Paul says you've forgotten your first love or something like that? I know you quoted.
That's actually Jesus says that. Actually, it's in Revelations chapter 2 or 3. I don't know which church he was talking to, but it was he's saying that to one of the churches in Revelation, and he's saying go back to your first whatever. If you look in the liner notes, "Long Live the Rebels," it's written right there. Let me just get it right here.
I know.
Pull it right up. I believe it or not, I don't have the entire Bible memorized. I'm working on it, but I know it's sad. But no, Jesus is saying that He's saying, remember what you did at first. Remember your first works. And I thought that was extremely life-changing the way He put that, because we live in a world where, God is just grace and He just is loving. He's like, it's okay, get back up. Like Jesus is actually like, hey, that passion you had for me, what's up? Where did that go? Remember what you did at first, because at first, like you loved me, and that's what I'm after. And so I thought that's a pretty cool thing to write about, And I think there was another song called First Love that really had an impact on me way back in the day by a trio group called Anointed. Do you remember Anointed?
I don't think so.
It was like,
no.
it was a black guy and two black girls, and they sounded amazing. I don't know if you consider them contemporary Christian or gospel, whichever one. So it was like maybe 90s or whatever. No, the song wasn't called First Love. It was like Take Me Back to My First Love or something like that.
Cool.
And I always thought that was such a cool thing to write about. What they did, how they put it, and 20 years later, we had our own version of similar.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's so awesome. And so this song, we feel a strong connection to, and it goes over really well live. And for a while, we were doing like kind of you would talk about a lot of that stuff, and then we would kind of go into a really soft chorus of it, kind of quiet, and then let the song, the intro kind of build up and go into it. It was a really cool moment to kind of focus in on that emotion, because it's hard sometimes live, for people to
Right.
catch on to what's being said
Right.
and really connect to it. So I
Yeah.
thought that
So-
was cool.
So as the guys know, that for me, music is all about how it makes you feel. That's totally my thing. Like Josiah is really talented and knows music theory very well, and he's an amazing songwriter. So like it irks him for verse 2 to sound exactly like verse 1 because he's just that talented. He's like, oh, there's so many things that we could do,
Right.
where I appreciate that, and I think it's amazing, and I think it's awesome, and my mind would never be able to work like his. But for me, I'm just like, I just want to feel something, I just want a song either to make me feel angry or feel sad or feel awesome or make me want to
Yeah.
drive fast, like freaking Kickstart My Heart by Motley Crue. It makes me feel something. I don't even care
Right.
what he's saying, So like whenever you attach emotion to a powerful message, it just makes it that much more. And so that's definitely what we were trying to capture or create in creating that moment where in live in concert where we were praying those words and we were saying
Right.
take me back to
Yeah.
my first love. And I think that for me every night too, it was a legit thing I was saying
Right.
every night, that let me love you like I once did, like every night, and even better. Going back to the beginning is one thing, but you want to even go further than where you were.
Yeah.
I remember. I'll go ahead, Joe.
Oh, go ahead.
I remember one.
No, you.
I remember one kind of funny experience during the making of the song before we went to the studio. I think I don't know where we were. We were on a plane, and we started having this debate about whether the chorus of this song should be the drum beat should be what it is, which is the
Oh.
or if it should be full halftime, or if it should be full double time. There are literally 3 ways we could take that drum beat.
How do you remember that? I
It
totally remember
literally-
that now.
It literally just came to me, and
I remember it now, too.
And I remember we literally spent probably an entire connecting flight, all 4 of us talking over the bench to each other. Well, what if it was? I don't know if I like that. And then later on, we're eating. We're like, man, why did we spend so long talking about that? We're not even in the studio. It's on an
So
airplane.
just so people know, the song almost was like, so I throw my heart to the floor.
That's right.
Like a sea to the salon. And let it all lead out. Come on. Yeah. Oh, come on. It almost went that way. It was close.
And
I don't know who was lobbying for which one.
I don't
I
remember
think
either.
I feel like in the studio, if I remember correctly, Aaron Sprinkle was kind of the one that was the final voice saying no, this do do ka ka do do ka, that's cool, So
Which is funny because that beat always reminded me of Amberlin, and he's done most of the Amberlin albums, and so that's probably why
Right.
it was in his wheelhouse.
exactly.
Was that your beat or Andrew's beat, Joey?
That was
that was
Andrew.
yours. Was
think.
Andrew came up with that?
Or maybe, I don't know. Sorry. Go ahead, Joe.
I
don't know.
have no idea.
I'm pretty sure Andrew had it or something like it on his original demo.
Yeah, I think Joey did something a little bit different because that
probably
I
right.
remember it like that. Gato.
Well, here's
I
my
think that
thing.
was that was Joey's spin on Andrew's. It was very similar, but Joey
Yeah.
made it a little bit better.
Well, Andrew's not in the band, and he's definitely not paying for Patreon, so I'm gonna take credit for it.
Oh my gosh! What if we just start a precedent of anything that Andrew should get credit for, one of us just takes it?
Yeah.
Oh Lord,
That's amazing.
But yeah, I think that's how it happened.
only
That's
took
how most
20 minutes.
That's how most of the drum stuff happens too. Josiah and Andrew, they'll program stuff when making demos, and they'll just kind of put a placeholder as to what they think I would play, and it'll either be stuff that I enjoy and I'm like, oh, that part should stay, or it's like, oh, I'm gonna take that and do something different and put a different spin on it and everything. So that's kind of how the creative process goes. And
Well, even in the parts that stay, you always make it better because it just feels more full and natural.
Thanks, man.
and You're welcome. That's true. Another. Sorry, go ahead. I was gonna say another fun factoid. I think is the different phases of the chorus this song went through. And
Oh my gosh!
Because I remember
So many.
So you wrote something over the chorus, and then
Yeah,
I wrote
You
something
wrote
over
something.
the B chorus, and then we ended up
Okay,
moving
I
the
think-
melody.
Let's see if I can remember. So the bridge
Yes.
is what I wrote first.
Yes, you wrote
which
that
was
first. I remember.
remember any weather I'd step out on the water. The moment you would say the word, and there were some other words. It's somewhere.
There was
I don't
something
know.
else, and
There was
and
another
that
half of it.
That was over the beginning of the chorus, and
Yeah.
then when it goes big in halftime, what eventually became the "Take Me Back" part, I had
Yeah.
written other words and melodies over, and then we ended up moving my melody to the first half of the chorus. You wrote new lyrics for it, and you wrote a new B chorus, and we moved your original, what we would call the A chorus, to the bridge.
Is there any of your
that
original
right?
words that moved? Yes, that is exactly right. Is there any of your original words that stayed in that?
I think just sheep to the slaughter.
Sheep
I think-
to the slaughter. That was one of your words. Yeah.
I had it in a totally different context, but
Yeah.
you kept that phrase.
Yeah.
And it was just so cool to watch that evolve. Can I say that word? Because it was
I'm gonna wake up my kids. Oh my god.
sorry. Because that's pretty unusual, I think, for a chorus to go through 3 different versions that are all good, and
Yeah.
for all the stuff to eventually kind of get spread out over the song.
That is a great example of how like we really trust each other in that.
Yep.
You know, like I had a chorus, and then you came along with like this melody that sounded cooler, you know, and I was like, but this is still cool. What I had was still cool. I want to see if we can use it somewhere, and so we
Right.
ended up just using it, you know, in the bridge, you know, as like a
Right.
down chorus way later. But it was
Totally.
a really great example of how we trust each other. That it's like, well, just because I wrote something that's good doesn't mean that there's not something better out there,
Right.
you know. And
Absolutely.
and you wrote this melody, and I was like, "That's better." I was like, "The words, we need to make let's work on the words." And so we kind of
Yep.
kept trusting each other and pushing each other. So it was a cool thing.
Yep.
It really
Well-
was.
Well, is there anything else you guys want to add? We should probably wrap this thing up here.
Well, how can
Yeah.
I add if we're gonna wrap it up?
Huh?
How can I add something if you want to wrap it up?
We're just running out of time here.
Yeah, no, I think that's kind of everything I wanted to hit on it. I think it's just such a cool song, and really proud of how it turned out from start to finish. And we still play it. We still play it live, so we get to experience it a lot. And
Yep.
I was gonna read a comment on YouTube.
Umberto Ramos?
This is on the just on the YouTube page for the song. It's just the official audio of the song "First Love." First of all, one comment that I just now am seeing is from Jeff H, and he says, "Kickstarter raised 200% of the album production cost. What did they do with that extra 100% donated funds?"
Hey, Joe, repeat that.
Well, we
one
already
more
answered
time.
that.
Okay. Oh, I said this guy says Kickstarter raised 200% of the album production cost. ... What did they do with that extra 100% donated funds? Question mark. Question mark.
Again,
Hey, we
Bought
already
this
covered that.
watch.
that's like
Just kidding.
you just
Um,
about this watch.
Well, let me read.
I mean, it's
the
just
reply-
it's hard for people to know. I mean, they just
Totally.
assume. Yeah, it's hard.
But what's
you
even
know.
better is the first response to it is this girl Kayla who says, "Oh, just be quiet." Thanks, Kayla.
Way to go, Kayla.
No, there is a cool comment on here. This guy says, "Honesty time. I'm actually atheist, but these guys actually make really great music in my opinion. Even though my beliefs are 100% different, this band still lifts my emotions when I feel empty." And he says some more stuff. That's kind of the meat of it. I'm like, that is so cool. Like he's listening to this song, First Love, that's 100% about a relationship with Christ. And he's an atheist, but it still connects to him. I think that is just...
I got literal chill bumps all over me just now.
Right?
Just
I just think it's so awesome. Not to like toot our horn, but just like that music can do that, and that the message of the music can do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For someone who's in a totally different place than us. So, anyway, I thought that was
Yeah.
And that's,
I
and
get-
that's what makes it worth it.
exactly.
yeah. That's like I said. It's you know it's. It's so important for me to write, for us to write music that makes somebody feel something,
Yeah.
If somebody walks
Absolutely.
away just going, that guy can sing really well, or that guy can play guitar really well, or
Right.
play drums really well. We want that too, but
Right.
like when they feel something, that's when just like there's this connection. I mean, because
Yep.
emotions have this connection spiritually, that
Yep.
just with God, and you're talking about this message, and the moment emotion comes into it, it's just like they're gonna be thinking about something way deeper than than the notes and the melodies of the song. The moment emotion comes in, it just is a game changer, quote unquote.
That's exactly right. That's exactly
And
right.
that's so
That's super
cool, man. That he doesn't believe in God, but he feels something. Wonder who put those feelings there for him.
I know, right? Kind of interesting.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Where'd they come from?
Well, cool. Good chat.
Very good chat.
That's
And
First
that's the
Love.
story of First Love.
Yeah.